folks, the time has come. We are finally getting to cut with an Arius. Can you even believe it? I haven't come across a cut test on an Arius during my time on YouTube. I'm sure there's a few out there. I haven't searched it out, but just in my travels on YouTube, I have not seen one yet. So I know that they're not very common, because I think a lot of people that buy Ariuses don't really use them much. They probably want to keep them nice and pristine, which is understandable. It's a very expensive knife. But in this situation, we're very lucky that we get to try it out. So this is regular thickness cardboard we're starting with here. The blade steel is 20 CV, and it's handling the stuff very well. Got caught up in the sharpening choil a couple times, and we'll talk about that in a minute. That's one thing. One little nitpick with the design is the choke-up spot is not big enough to be a choke-up spot. It's just a large sharpening choil, so your finger's not in there to stop the cardboard from getting snagged. This is the double thickness cardboard, and it's actually doing very well. This is going against the grain here, which is the toughest way. And, it doesn't feel crazy thin, which is not. But it's, taking care of it no problem. It's cutting the cardboard very cleanly. This is, I was surprised to see that this was fairly thick behind the edge, like almost 23 thousandths around there. I wish it was a little thinner, but I don't think that matters a whole lot. It's a nice deep hollow grind, and as you sharpen it, it's not going to get thicker because of the hollow grind. Utility cuts, it did really well. You just saw it. We're going to do some utility cuts on the thick stuff now too. It's a pretty typical drop point shaped blade, but I feel like it's so I'm not even all the way at the tip, as you just saw. I'm kind of almost back a little bit. I think it's just so sharp, and the hollow grind way up there helps it kind of just not really need to be all the way up at the tip. It's just thin enough up there. Let's roll up this glove and cut some leather. Perfect blade shape for this kind of thing. Very nice. No more than one draw through the material and it's all the way cut through. That's what we like to see, baby. Very nice. By the way, ergonomically, this is a wonder. It's very nice. It's very comfortable in the hand. Starting with the Cecil rope here. Not a problem at all. That nice kind of gentler belly is really nice. Start up towards the tip, start applying pressure, and then rock back, and it just pops the Cecil rope very nicely. How about some thick rubber tubing? Almost like a hose material. Well, not almost. It is a hose. Pretty good. Some knives, when you're cutting through that stuff, if they got pretty thick geometry, it does not cut easily through it because it feels like you're forcing an axe through this rubber. But since this one's got a very high hollow grind, it feels great. Not a lot of friction there, or at least less than if it was flat. All right, let's try the 2-inch strap material here. Will it get all the way through? Let us find out. Yeah, not quite. So, speaking of that large sharpening choil that's not big enough to be a finger choil, because that's there, and because the only hand position you really have, not being able to choke up, is back behind the flipper tab, I kind of feel forced away from the cutting edge a bit. It feels a little far away from the edge for me, you know? I like to choke up on my knives, and if I can't or the design doesn't call for it, then I like to be, up close. I just feel like I have more leverage that way. So here we are testing our edge after all the cutting, and it's fine. I'm not like blown away at the edge retention here. It's just typical 20 CV, I feel like. Which is fine. That's, definitely doesn't feel like it's bad or anything like that. It's just kind of at regular 20 CV. Let's try the edge killer. Definitely a lot of fraying. It did okay. Now I'm going to edit in a clip of me doing it with another knife so you can get a comparison. We're going to do it with the Shark Cub. And because this rope, this big thick rope, is a new thing to the cut test, I want to show what a really good knife, or, what a knife looks like cutting it well. See how fast that was? And how clean that cut is? That's what you want to see. So the reason the Arius didn't do that, I think, is because it's not as sharp at this point in the cut test as the Shark Cub was. That was a real sharp edge on the Shark Cub. So there you go. Let's cut some wood. Let's do some whittling. This is a good test for ergos because you're really gripping the knife really hard. And kind of doing a little bit of a twisting motion. And for the most part, they're really good. There is one edge that I'll show you in a second here that really only you start to feel if you're really just gripping it very hard. I didn't notice it at all cutting the cardboard, so... and it's just that edge right there. And, it's pretty hard to avoid, unless it's like a fixed blade or something, so I'm not going to count that against it. Let's strap it again, and then I want to do the strap one more time, see if we can get all the way through with a freshly stropped edge. So yeah, I'm not blown away by the 20 CV here. Seems pretty regular, pretty average 20 CV, which is fine. See, it straps back nicely. It's very nice and sharp now. And let's see if we can get through this one cut. Usually, after a stropping, you can, with a blade this length at least. And yep, bam. No problemo. This is a really nice knife. I don't think it's really my jam, though. I still haven't tried the mini Arius, so that could be more my jam. This is just a little big, I'm not really a huge, size-wise, knife guy. I'm not a huge knife guy. And this is not huge, but it's definitely big. It's a little bigger than a Spyderco Shaman, if you have handled one of those. So it's a little big, and the fact that I can't get nice and close up to where the edge begins is a little bothersome. The action is absolutely fantastic. Very crisp detent on this thing. You saw that it just passed the spine whack test. So, this is if this style is your jam, I can see why this knife is so popular. It is impeccably built, impeccably made, and yeah, we just saw that it cut really deep, really well. Not like insanely good, but just about as good as I expected. It's a hollow ground 20 CV blade. So there you go, the Koenig Arius. I almost feel like I don't know. I think the Arius has been built up so much by everybody that maybe I was expecting it to, like, knock my socks off. I don't know, and it didn't really. in all aspects, but it, you know, while it didn't knock my socks off, it is an extremely nice knife. So, you know, it didn't blow me away, but I'm really glad I got to finally handle one and cut with one. And, you know, I think anyone would be really, really happy to have this. So that's it. Please like the video before you leave, and I'll see you soon.